So every year we think, you know what, I can't wait to get a brand new set of golf clubs. Whereas the pros get a set of irons, potentially like these ones right here, and they want to keep them for years and years and years. I'll be honest, maybe these irons are the ones where we actually change our mentality going, yeah, you know what, we don't have to believe the marketing every year. We can stick to a set of irons, keep them, and we don't have to keep changing to play better. The thing that I learned, right, golfers like things that look familiar. Well, how can it be familiar if you change every year? So we're not only going to test these from the tee on the par 3 11th here, which, oh my, this is long. Oh, 196 I'm getting, but we're going to test them off the tee in terms of long irons, when sometimes you don't want to take a driver, you need a long iron to put you in play. But there's actually one that I'm really quite interested in. The scoring irons from the fairway and from the rough. So when I say I'm going to be testing them, I really mean I'm going to be putting them to the test thoroughly today. But I will be honest with you, the ones that I'm most nervous about are the scoring irons, because we all hear, as clubs get older, oh, they're heavy, do the grooves start to lose their zip? So I could be saving you a lot of money today if these still perform in every single one of the categories I've said. Right, I'm intrigued to see what these look like. Like I say, these are second hand. Whew. Let's get these out. First one out, I tell you what, I can't wait to give that a hit. That is the Mizuno JPX 923 Tour 4-iron. Tell you what, someone's hardly hit that. Like, look at the grooves on that 4-iron. They are literally like brand new. Tell you what, also, I've looked out with these shafts. Someone must have spent a fortune on these. CT115 Oban, made in Japan. Like, these are a seriously premium set of irons. That's also right. Another thing, when you're buying second-hand, as much as you are taking a risk on quality, which we're gonna have to inspect these all in a second, like, you sometimes can, on the ground, we don't wanna litter anywhere, get absolutely lucky on getting some really good shafts. Okay, let me wanna go to these scoring irons, as I said. Where's 8-iron? There's 8-iron. Oh, must be in this one here. Here is 8-iron. Okay, no, that's 4-iron, Alex. It would be typically the last club that I pick up. Okay, you know what? 7-iron looks a little bit on the battered side. That's one of those things I was worried about. But overall, these look in tip-top condition. Let's have a little bit of a closer look. Also, look at where this flag is, by the way. Back right in that corner. Yeah, I'm not gonna go for that flag. Middle of that tree, straight in front of me, is where I am going to be aiming. This is also another thing I've just thought of right now. Like, I'm looking at a brand here, Mizuno, right? Who have much longer product life cycles than the likes of a Callaway, a TaylorMade. And in my eyes, like, I think we all pitch a Mizuno brand like this, the JPX Tour, or just a Mizuno in general, on that really high quality, very well made end of the spectrum. So surely that's why, and another thing, buying sort of an old set of cheat sticks like these, something that's well made, going to last, and just keep working for you, is the way to go. Anyway, enough talking, let's play this first hole. As I just said, right, I ain't going for that flag one bit. I'm gonna go middle of that tree, and if it fades into there, oh, by the way, I've got 5-iron. And look how good this looks, by the way. You can tell whoever's had these, right, hasn't enjoyed the long irons because they've hardly been hit. And I'm really enjoying this brushed sort of steel look. Here we go. Come on, Alex, put a good swing on this. Tell you what, middle of the green, that launched a little higher than I thought. That didn't leave the middle of that green. And weirdly, like, that made like a sort of a duller sound than I thought it would. Now, I know it's only the first shot, but that was actually a really, really nice shot. I'll just show you a little bit more detail of this 5-iron. Like, what do you think? Do you think it is just marketing that makes us buy new clubs? Should we just keep the ones we've got, or even just look secondhand? Let me know what your thoughts on this as we go through this video. So you can see here, this 5-iron has a little bit of offset. Just there. Let's go and find out where that actually finished, and I'll show you. Now, I know these are the Tour product, but I think it might surprise you, or it might surprise me, in fact, who these irons are actually for. I'll give you my opinion on that at the end of the video too. So you know what? That surprised me where that's finished. I hit that 5-iron really quite well, and it did go a little bit higher than I thought. But look at this. I told you the flag was 196 yards. The ball is here, and the flag is there. Like, I reckon we are a good, from where my pitch mark is, I'm like a good 17, 20 yards short of that flag. Now remember, the flag was 196. That's like a 170 shot. That's a little bit shorter than I would anticipate for a 5-iron. Maybe it's because I'm stiff, maybe because it's one of the first shots of the day. We've got to find out a little bit more. Now the 12th hole, I've said this before in a video, I have been known to not want to hit driver on this hole. So what I'm thinking is this 4-iron's probably going to be around about 190, 200 yard. Again, in perspective compared to those Wilsons that I'm using, it's a little bit shorter. But I keep going back to this, right? Mizuno are very good quality iron, and I'm really impressed with how these look. Look, right, look how impressive that is. There's no marks or scuffs on the back here. This is where, like, you know, you get a bit of black bag clatter, I call it. This 4-iron, again, I'll show you these grooves. They've hardly been used. And I have decided this. I'm gonna hit 2 shots here. I'm gonna hit a normal one. What I mean by a normal one is like it's a flighted high one, as if I was hitting an approach shot into a green. And then I'm gonna try and hit a low chasing one. That's one of those ones where on this hole, when I'm not feeling too good, that's the shot that I play. So if I'm gonna say these are cheat sticks, I need to put them to the test thoroughly, like if I was using these irons like they were my own. Okay, here we go, 4-iron. Oh, that was ripped. So these shafts feel heavy, you know. I hit that good. A little bit left towards that bunker, but that's why I hit 4-iron off here. Okay, I called it. 194 yards of carry. That would make sense, right? 5-iron was 170 to 180, 194 for the 4-iron, and 216 yards total. I'll be honest though, I'm only really bothered about the carry. I'm more bothered about the total on this shot, because this shot now I'm gonna try and hit is that low runner. Like I said, I have been known in a competition to just want to play this shot all the time because I just feel like it's in the air and it could go a little bit AWOL. So let's hit this low runner. I'm gonna move the ball back in my stance a little bit. Hopefully, I'm gonna say this, hopefully you'll see a decent ball flight here and a bit more rollout. That had some serious movement on it. That's got some more roll on it. I'm not sure about the carry though. I'm not sure about the carry. So that carried 194 and finished 217 yards. Now, that had a little more rollout, but that was the kind of shot we were trying to play. I'm gonna give you some feedback on sound and feel now. So sound-wise, quite a high-pitched, whoosh, clicky sound, which I really, really do like. Now, considering this is a 4-iron, this top line, don't get me wrong, it's the Tour model in the JPX in the 923, so it is a less forgiving club. But I'll be honest, the head size on that is inviting. It's not something where you'd go, ooh, ooh, that's horrible. Right, we're starting to get into the realms of where it gets a little more interesting now. I'm gonna go and hit some scoring irons. And what I mean by scoring irons is we're gonna hit some 7-irons, some 8-irons, and some 9-irons from the rough, then test those little wedges too. Because this is the bit where I'm like, okay, wonder if the pros only change the irons because the grooves wear out on the scoring irons. That for me would be the only possibility they change. Whereas we go, ooh, new marketing, new club, let's change. So I think we've got around that 7-iron yardage here. 157 to the flag. I'm gonna start off by hitting a few of these from the fairway and then a few of them from the rough. Now I'm also interested in, I'll put this back, how long have you kept your set of irons for? Are you someone that does change year on year? Are you looking at this going, Alex, I've seen their bags, I've seen what they use. The irons, they tend to keep year on year. Drivers, I think more contractually, they're forced to change every year. I think it's a really interesting point. Okay, this is the 7-iron. Now this is where it gets interesting because this is obviously a much more of a used club. So let's see how this performs and the numbers. 157, I'm thinking this should be spot on. I'm a little bit nervous for this, I'm not gonna lie. Right, so these shafts are like almost like one piece with a little bit of ribbing in them. Okay, let's get this on the green. Come on, good swing here, 7-iron. Oh my God, straight down the flag. Be the club, please. Oh wow, that's flown a long way. Whew, it's flown past that flag. I felt like it flew more than that. It's flown 162. Now I know it's a little bit wet on the grass this morning, but 162. Now that flight, that sound, that, I'm not gonna lie, felt absolutely pure. I'm gonna take a few steps this way now, and let's hit this one from the rough. Now I'm not gonna have any data on this one, I'm just gonna play this one. I've come literally maybe 5 yards a bit further back. And let's see how this performs out of this juicy stuff this morning. That was a really nice flight. I enjoyed that last 7-iron. I could use these, I reckon. I could use these. Oh, it's a carbon copy. That is pure. Don't even feel that. Oh, that is definitely a flyer. Oh my Lord! That's what you get for testing irons early in the morning. But I have to say, those 2 shots of 7-iron were really quite nice. And probably, if I'm honest with you, went a little further than I thought. Okay, let's move into 8-iron. I mean, look how pure that looks there with a bit of the morning dew on the club. So this is the 8-iron, and a little bit less battered than the 7. I've looked out here, by the way. I think these irons have hardly been used. So I've come 10 steps further forward. We're around the 150-yard mark. I'm gonna hit, well, this might be a bit long actually, I'm thinking, but I'm gonna hit a smooth 8-iron. Let's get some carry numbers. Let's get some numbers on what this actually goes, facts and figures. I'm impressed with these irons so far, and I can just see why pros, when you get a set of irons that you love the look of, that you just want to keep year on year on year. Because like, I'm one, right? I've got a story to tell you about a 3-wood I own. So it's sort of a similar story to this, but first, let me hit this 8-iron. Oh, that was so nice. Did you hear that noise, by the way? You're not gonna like where that's finished. That's finished about 10 foot away. I didn't even feel that on the face. Didn't even feel that. I'll tell you what, I've got the number spot on there. Came 10 yards further forward, 148. That's why that ended up close. You know what, I'm gonna be ambitious. Just from the same spot, I'm gonna hit some 9-irons here. That's all over it. I think it might be a little short, but that stood to attention quickly, that. That story, right? So I was telling you about a 3-wood. Now, I'll be honest, it wasn't my 3-wood. When I used to caddy for Tom on the European Tour, he had this tailor-made burner 3-wood. And every year they said to him, come on, let's upgrade. No, he's still got it right now. That's probably 8, 9, maybe even 10 years old. It was the white one. I'll put a video or a picture on the side of the screen here. I'll get one from him. My point being is, what you find is the top players, they'll have contracts where they might only have to use 10 or 11 brand new clubs, and that means they have the ability to chop and change, whether they want to keep old drivers, whether they want to have, like, I can keep these irons in my bag as long as they're within the last 5 years. They will have these clauses in there, so when they get a set of irons, let's say like these Mizunos that they love the look of the head, the shape, the feel, they don't have to change. It comes back to the start of the video. Why do we? Go on, answer me that question. Why do you honestly think we change? So I just thought, I've now hit a 4-iron, I've hit a 5-iron, I've also hit some 7-irons from the fairway in the rough. I've also then just hit some 8-irons and some 9-irons. They've both finished relatively good, right? I'll show you where these are finished in a second. I just want to show you these down behind the ball. Now, the feedback that I'd give you, I think they're flying a little shorter than my current set. Maybe the loft's a little bit weaker. But what I do like is the flight. I'm enjoying the, not saying flat flight, but it's like not going and spinning too high. Maybe a lot of that is to do with the shaft, but I'm enjoying them right now. So I've just thought of this. So maybe a solution we could look at here is potentially going, I'm not saying a more well-made brand, but you know the likes of Mizuno, potentially even a Srixon. These are the sort of brands that we sort of put on the upper echelon of, right, okay, we know they're well-made, we don't really hear about them too much in marketing. Now, if you're not a fan of those two brands, which potentially you might not be, maybe have a look at, say, secondhand like we're doing right now, but also have a look at within the brand where it's TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, for example. Go for more of the, I'm not saying more expensive, but what you look at every year, right, and I see it. So this year you have the irons from Callaway and TaylorMade. You have the AI Smoke and you have the QI10. They're sort of renewed every single year. I'll be honest with you, if you want to keep good value in your irons, stay away from them. If you want to keep good quality, they're still good quality. That's not what I'm saying, but what I'm saying here is they seem to get binned off every year, and that's maybe something to think about. So let's look at these down behind the ball in order. This is the 5-iron. Now, things that I'm going to pick out is that top line obviously isn't the most forgiving, but it's not super thin in my opinion. And also the head shape from toe to heel is, well, I'm not saying big, but it's certainly not small for a tall iron. Like, I thought I hit some of those irons nice, but maybe a little toe side. And I only know that because I'm definitely capable of doing that. So that's the 5-iron down behind the ball. This is now the 4-iron, and look, the head shape stays very, very similar. A little bit of offset, good looking down behind the ball, and I pick out this, right? I said this at the start, that brushed steel look. Reducing glare, and you know what? It just looks really good, that. I'm a really big fan of that sort of understated brushed steel. Now you've got in order 7-iron, 8-iron and 9-iron, working from left to right. And you can start to see how the head shape slightly changes into that 9-iron. And for me, the top edge gets a little bit of a higher rise, a little bit more like a wedge in that 9-iron on the far right of the screen compared to the 7-iron. So I guess just a slight change in head shape. And that leads me nicely onto hitting a gap wedge. And you can really start to see the difference in this shape. And I think that's really clever. The bottom club is the 5-iron, that's why it's dirty, we've hit that. And then this top one is the gap wedge. Can you see that top line starts to rise a little higher? But again, we've got that brushed steel look. These are seriously a good looking set of irons that so far done the job, you know. Okay, this set is 4-iron to gap wedge. Let's hit a gap wedge. All right, so we can laser this one in there nicely. Go on, be good. Oh, that literally pitched next to the flag. Oh, that was a delight. So let's show you where these are finished. This is the wedge. This is the 8-iron that I hit. These are the two 9-irons. They came up a little short, but I thought that would be the case and where we hit them. And then these are the 7-irons that we hit. You can sort of see one here, and then one just in the rough here. Now, do you see my point about this? How we can just keep the same clubs as long as we like the look of them. So what I'd really recommend is dialing in a set of irons you really love the look of, the feel of, and the gapping within your set. Because that's super important, you've got to think about that too. Then, once you've done that, keep them. It might cost you a little more, or go second hand and find a little bit of a bargain like these. The final thing is, who are these irons made for? And I'll be honest, these are a lot more forgiving than I thought. Everybody would say, let's say 5 and below, but you know what? I say single figures, these would be absolutely perfect.